Her ethereal voice has enchanted audiences for decades, from her addictive song Jungle Drum to the hauntingly beautiful Gollum song in Lord of the Rings Two Towers. Italian and Icelandic Emilíana Torrini has been captivating us over the years, and I'm so excited to have her on the All Things Iceland podcast and to go a little bit more, just dive into her journey through her music career and life. But before we hop in, special thanks to Center Hotels, who is a sponsor of this episode. And if you want to save 25% on any of your stays at one of their 9 hotels that have very unique aspects to all of them, spas, accommodations, great customer service, delicious food, use my code ATI25 to save 25% and enjoy your stay in Reykjavik. All right, now let's get into bed with Emilíana Torrini. I am so stoked to have Emilíana Torrini on the All Things Iceland podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
So there's a lot we're going to touch on, but I'm going to take it back because you're known for different songs and things you have coming up. But we want to go back to your childhood a bit in Iceland. Nothing too crazy. We're not doing any kind of psychology here, but this is more about because you have mixed culture in Iceland of being Italian and Icelandic. What was that like growing up with those cultures, which are quite different?
You just didn't really think about it. But definitely there were some very embarrassing moments because here in Iceland you had very kind of more stiff culture. Mm-hmm. So fathers would grab the hand of their sons and hello son.
Oh, okay. Very formal.
You know, and here it would be like my dad going like kissing everybody, you know, and the guys are like, oh, beard on beard, oh, you know. It's very kind of, and he was loud, and when he got angry, you know, there was no kind of holding back ever, and then he was always trying to do deals in shops.
Like negotiating. They'd be like, oh, I'm not paying 1,000 kroner for that. It's like, how about 800? And they're like, that's the price. So that's amazing. What part of Italy is your dad?
Naples.
Okay, yeah. So, like, that's amazing.
Yeah. So sometimes, and you know, we would have a culture that drinking alcohol was an absolute no in the week, but also we were a culture that didn't know how to drink.
Okay.
You know, so weekends were just like carnage. Yeah. You know.
The Icelandic version is like
Icelandic version.
Go all out.
And it would just go up to grown-ups, you know.
Yeah.
And my father would maybe sit with a red wine on a Tuesday and it was like, oh, he's an alcoholic. Yeah. You know. And there was just little things like that, you know, he was always a bit of a, He came here when he was 21, got married or something. So he was, you know, streetwise in ways maybe Icelanders were not. Right. And he found ways to survive and be, and and he was a interesting character. But yeah, it's sometimes when we went to Italy, he, you know, in Iceland I found him incredibly intense, very intense character. And then you go to Italy and you realize he's wonderful, you know.
Yeah, he's just like everybody else.
Yes, because it's in his environment.
Yeah.
And yeah, but in terms of being in school and stuff, it was like maybe a little bit exotic even, you know, because not a lot of... But I don't think anyone ever thought about stuff like that at that time, you know.
Yeah. They were just like, that's just how he is, and just kind of left it in a way.
Yeah.
Like, being a foreigner worked in his favor of being different, maybe?
Sometimes, yeah. And I think, you know, there was my favorite story. We just moved into my neighborhood in Kópavogur, and I just met my best friend. And we just hit it off, and we were very creative and kind of crazy together. And one time her dad invites me to stay for dinner. And everybody always wants to cook pasta for me.
Oh.
So I was like, I'm going to show you how Italian food is made. And it's just weird to even say that. It's like, oh, really? And the thing was to boil the pasta till it was just
like mush. Yeah. Oh no.
And then you put like onion and beef on the pan.
Yeah.
And then ketchup.
Oh no. Just cardinal sin number 1. Oh no.
Yeah. And I was just sitting there going, oh my God, no. And I was like, when I was eating it, like, I just thought it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever had. And then I went up the road because we lived in the same street, and I was like, Dad, you wouldn't believe what they did. And my father, you know, being slightly from the macho culture, he's like, Anna Stella, who's my mom, you call them now and tell them to come.
No.
And my mom was like, Salvatore, my darling, no, let's drop it. He's like, no.
It's not that serious. He's like, this is an abomination.
Yes, but he can't call. He's telling my mom to call. And she's like, oh, hello, do. And you could see them kind of walk up the road in a size.
Like size
they
order.
They were a really tall family, and I just remember seeing them in this kind of size order coming to my house. And my dad opened the door. He's like, come here. And he took them to the kitchen. He's like, this is how you make pasta. And he showed them how to make...
It sounds like a movie. It's
showed them. I was mortified. These are the things that my dad did that I was just like, this is hell, you know. And but they were lifelong friends after that.
Yeah. So. And never put ketchup on their pasta again, probably.
No, I hope not.
At least not in your presence, right? That is hilarious. And I think one of the things that's fascinating to me is, at least with your dad, especially in the society of, this is decades ago, right? So you have a very insular type of Iceland. Like, you're not getting all the influences as much as you are now. And he still stayed true to himself.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's a really cool thing that, like, and maybe it's played into your music and in your own, like, sense of self too, is that, like, this is who I am and this is how it's going to be. I mean, granted, take it or leave it, to a degree, but I admire that your dad was like, I'm going to hold strong to, like, kissing on the cheek, or, like, you know, like, you make.
But he was always about, he was really open. Like, if he had 10 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
they were, most of them restaurateurs.
Okay.
And when you would go there, they would never ever go anywhere except to an Italian restaurant and then bitch about it. What a terrible restaurant this is.
Was that like their hobby to go and like?
It was just like, why are we going here? And my dad was like all into food from all over the world. You know, he was much more curious. He spoke 12 languages at one point. And he was much more like open. And he, you know, he would go to Mula Cafe and have Icelandic food. He loved Icelandic food. And so he was also really into, like, if you live somewhere, you have to be a part of that.
Yeah, adapt. And,
you have to do it. Yeah. Because otherwise you're missing out. On a much more fun life, and I really truly believe that as well. Yeah,
that's fantastic and fascinating. Your dad sounds like a character, and so is I'm sure your mom too had her, but navigating this like big personality in the house. Yep. For sure. Yeah, and at a young age, you started singing like soprano in the choir and like doing things, and then eventually having international success, right? So, at some point along the line, from being in the choir to that, when did you know that you wanted to be a singer as a career?
Always.
Always?
Yes.
Okay. So you were one of those that early on, you were just like, this is me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that looked like.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just wanted to be a singer. I grew up with MTV from, of course, because of my father. He got a massive satellite on the house, and the satellite was bigger than the house. And I thought that was really embarrassing. But we had he had a lot of TV stations, and one of those was MTV. So I didn't really grow up with records. My family wasn't that. I didn't even know about record shops till I was a teenager.
Wow. Okay.
So MTV was my go-to, and that's much more like Spotify or you know, because you're watching songs. You're not really getting the records. The records came later. Yeah. So maybe that was a bit of it, and it was just a discovery. It was also now less focused, you know, it was all types of genre. You were much more kind of exposed to a lot of music. Yes. A lot of different music. So that had a big influence on me, I guess.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm slightly little bit later generation, but MTV was a huge impact on me as well. Like Total Request Live and all these, like, you know, they were just VH1 even, like all of that, right? It was amazing. But I think it's really cool that you were also just like, okay, so as you navigated becoming a singer in Iceland, what did that look like at the time? Because obviously, I think now it's so different, right, in terms of how this happens for people.
I think for me, it just looked like, when I was singing, my mother had seen some kind of a talent, because I could sing kind of everything, but I was all just within a joke, recording with my grandmother, not with my grandmother, with recording with my friend, doing like radio shows, and we had to make all the music, and
nice.
it was very fun. And so what the theme became very much was like, why are you going to be an opera singer because you're Italian?
Okay.
And suddenly it became like, oh yeah, maybe I can get closer to my culture by being an opera singer. I think, which is of course not true.
That's not automatic.
So when I was 15, I enlisted in the opera school here. So that kind of was what it looked like for me. While I was there, I was asked to sing backing vocals for a band called Spoon, and ended up becoming a member and singing 2 songs of their record. That became very successful through.
It's a totally different genre. I mean, we're jumping from.
Oh yeah, it was like rock
opera,
music.
To rock,
And I had never really thought about what my style was, so I was kind of thrown in. And while I am a singer, I am discovering who I am as a singer, which is like, you get a lot of attention for just experimenting with your voice.
Yeah.
And then I met Jón Ólafsson as he is recording that record. And I asked him if he would record some 5 songs with me for my dad's 50th birthday.
Okay.
And I mean, and it became a record. He's like, let's put it out and we'll just do it ourselves. And I was like, really? Because it's like a karaoke record. I mean, I'm doing songs from Color Purple. It was my favorite movie.
Okay. Wait, that's an intense movie.
Embarrassing.
It's a great movie, but so emotionally intense.
Oh my God, I love that movie so much. I loved Tata Vega, the singer, and she was just like, and the songs from that film was big, but maybe not kind of for me to sing. But I did that, and I did musicals, and I did jazz music.
Nice.
So it was just this soup of a karaoke record.
Just having fun, basically.
Yeah, just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And then, it was just supposed to be from my dad. But there I was discovering my voice and what I could sing. I'd never experimented with it like that. So it was kind of in the studio.
Yeah.
And Jón is like, can you sing that song? This is very loud. And I'm like, I don't know. I just, didn't even think about it.
Right,
it was just a song that I liked. So now I'm going to try and sing it. And mostly I was just imitating.
Yeah.
And then the next record, and then there was, record companies here that had the record stores were maybe 2, and there was it was not popular that you would put out your records yourself, so your record would always be put in the back. So I hired myself to work in Kringlan in Skívan on Christmas time, the only time the records sell.
Okay.
And I just was putting my record forward and hanging up my posters, and then I quit the.
At the time, you're like, all right, and we're good. That's I love that. That's a scrappy DIY. I'm just gonna get it done. I'm gonna get myself
Napolitan.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that because honestly, it's so true. It's so hard to get in front of people if you don't have like a label pushing you or something else. And so good for you for being like, I'm not gonna stand here and hope that people will see it. I mean, there are people who do, the authors who do that, go to like a bookstore and put their books in front of other people's books because do what you gotta do, right? Yes. That's amazing. Okay.
So, and then I just thought maybe I will try writing after I dreamt a song. And we wrote it, and then we did 5 songs that were written, and again 5 karaoke's. And then I was like, oof, I don't want to write music. It's way too hard. I just want to be a singer. Yeah. And sing other people's songs. And after that, I'm just kind of taken abroad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's like, it sounds like the journey has been like here, there, just like you said, figuring it out. It's not this linear thing where it's all of a sudden it just blows up. But
no, it did blow up.
It blew up at some point. But I meant like how you got there eventually.
No, it blew up after the first karaoke record.
Oh, massively. I see. Oh, okay.
And I think that was a really good gift for me.
Yeah.
Because being that massively famous.
Yeah.
You for the next step you can have some choices, and you realize like that is way too much, you know. And I guess that put the line for me on being a developing artist rather than jumping into
fame. Yeah.
Or you don't maybe jump into it either, but I think that became very clear for me that was not the path for me.
Okay. And so, okay, that bit of like attention, like a lot of attention, all of a sudden it was just like, okay, whew, I need to take a step back.
Very scary, yes.
Yeah.
But also mostly wonderful, and people are nice, but it's just too much.
Yeah,
to be known like that.
Yeah, interesting. Do you think that prepared you though for like Jungle Drum, you know, in terms of having felt already what it was like to be having this much attention on you? Because imagine if that was like the first, right? Which was massive as well, right? That could have been a little bit even more jarring.
I think that's because that is because that song went into the stratosphere. Like people think that is how it should go, you know, because like otherwise you're a bit of a loser. Or I don't know, but I
understand what you mean though. Yeah.
So like the record before was Fisherman's Woman, and that was a folk record. That did really extremely well.
That's awesome.
But it's more of a kick doing a record like that, because you're having a successful record, but you're getting away with not being known wherever you are.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a much nicer kick. So when Jungle Drum happened, it was a big record, but it almost had nothing to do with me. It blew up at a time that was really difficult. The crash had happened.
Yeah.
A lot of people around me, including my dad, had lost everything.
No.
And there was a lot of just like, you know, Iceland was a mess.
Yeah.
And we were a mess because our own people created that mess, which was even a bigger crime than anywhere else, because we're such a small nation.
Exactly.
And got away with it, and people's lives were crumbled, you know, and they were completely shameless, and they're still just like whatever.
Yeah. There's a lot of myths around
steroids.
Right. Exactly.
Burning Man.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the cycle's coming back around, right? It's like the banks are being privatized again. And like all this stuff is just like, do we not learn from what happens?
No, we don't, because we're happy to sell
exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
And I think at that time when that song came out, it was just something that was really positive and a bit vague, you know, and I think it was just something that people caught because it made them feel a bit better. But for me, I could actually just step away. It went like 8 or 9 weeks, #1.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, it has nothing to do with me. And then, of course, industry starts going, well, write another song. And I was like, nope.
Good for you. I was wondering about the pressure of that, because there are so many artists who try to replicate that success over and over.
But I had a contract that I was a developing artist. I didn't have any obligations to do that. So I went home, wrote a letter saying, I'm not milking this cow. This is not where I'm going. I'm going to go back to where, you know, I'm going to go to where I've always been making music from, and I'm not compromising with it.
Yeah, respect. That's amazing. That's amazing that you didn't allow the industry to dictate it for you, you know?
No, because there are different parts of success. You can make music and be okay. You know, you don't have to be stratospheric.
Yeah.
You can have a good life doing music. Well, maybe not today, but then you could.
Yeah. I think even though I hear you, it still takes a certain like security in self, right? To not fall prey to that pressure of I have to do what other people want me to do, who are professionals in the industry, right? Like, so I think it's really cool that you've just had this secure aspect to yourself. At least that's how it's coming off in terms of
I think
how you decided to do it.
I think I got an allowance to an obligation to do that from my mom, because I was 17 or so when I was offered an incredibly huge record deal.
Wow.
And it took a few months to do it, and it was me going to be a singer, and it was excited in the beginning, and then it just started to feel weird.
Yeah, your instinct was like,
yeah, this isn't great. But you know, obviously my parents thought that I'm set for life. I could buy a few houses with that, and you know, I'll be fine. And you don't want anything else for your kids but that, you know. And they had never seen, you know, their workhorses. They've never had anything in their lives. They had to work for every tiny little thing, extremely hard. So, so after a few months, we go to that with the lawyers and these guys, and I'm just like, we were supposed to be signing, and I'm like, Mom, I don't want to do this.
Wow.
And I could just see her mouth going like what she does, like when she's not that happy, she's like, and then she goes, yeah, she doesn't want to sign. And everybody's like, but we've been doing this for months. And she's like, she does not want to sign.
Right.
You know,
Wow. Good
and
for your
she's
mom.
probably like just 30 something years old
Yeah.
at the time. I had a very young mom. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to get so bollocked for this. And, and then I came out, I'm like, Mom, I'm so sorry. She just, you know, it was like this drama movie or something.
Yeah.
She just held me and said, I'm so proud of you.
Oh.
So just make sure you do what you do.
Right.
You know. And so when I got that, I was like, I am actually safe in just taking chances and doing things my way and not to compromise much. And that's how I kind of...
Having that support system, that's amazing. That's beautiful. I'm really, really happy to hear that. It means, I think for many artists too, who listen to this and hear about you having this stratospheric success with Jungle Drum, that again, like you said, doesn't have to be the be all end all. Things happen, right? It's like there's unicorn songs in essence that happen, and at the same time though, you can still take agency. But contracts, I think that was the other smart thing. Is like back then, it wasn't like
some were smart, some were stupid.
Yeah,
I think it's also like with artists that most dangerous thing is that they catch you young.
Yes.
And when you're young, you don't have managers, or you have terrible managers, or your friend is your manager.
Right. Yes.
And suddenly you're stuck in contracts for 20 years. You know, and suddenly
6 albums
you're
you have
48,
to like
48, and you're still trying to get out of a terrible contract, and no one escapes that, because there's always this thing of, oh yeah, but this is just the norm in the contract, and that's what you should avoid.
Yes.
You know, and so
and be willing to walk away.
It's a horrible industry, and no one, and people saying that, it's because it's true.
Yeah. It's said so often that it's not something you should ignore, right?
Absolutely not. It's, you know, and especially with the opportunities that you have now in doing it yourself, because you are going to be screwed over.
Yeah.
That is it.
I mean, there are major artists who have had to have major success, like Taylor Swift is a good example, in order to get back their masters or whatever, you know, it's like, and you would never think that would be the case, but people get stuck in horrible contracts and situations that at the beginning they didn't think mattered.
No, and because you don't have the people in the beginning.
Yeah.
That maybe later in your life you get the expensive lawyer and you get the people that kind of, you know, but in the beginning, that's why it's good to catch them when they're young.
Yeah. I tell you, predatory behavior. So you'd mentioned that you tried writing and you were like, no. But then you go on to do writing and end up participating in writing a hit song for Kylie Minogue, Slow. Yeah. So when did you come back to being like, okay, I'll give writing a shot, like, you know, to feel more comfortable with it?
I think in the beginning I really didn't like it. I just didn't see the point, you know. I wanted to experiment more with the voice, and writing for your own voices can be difficult, you know, all sorts of, you know, I started writing very late. I'm 18. And I was being put with extremely amazing writers. And I was just like, huh? You know, I had no idea what was going on. Yeah. I wish I would have met them now, because I would be more ready for them. But in the beginning, I was just like, what is this? Yeah. And it wasn't until I met Egg White, who was more wild and kooky, you know, and studio full of really old equipment. You're falling about from, you know, the lines and it was messy. It was really exciting. You could produce the song at the same time as you're writing it. And then he was kind of my mentor, and I still have this thing where I have to be in a studio full of synths or instruments.
Interesting. Okay, that's like your comfort zone.
Yeah, because visually you can go, what about what if we put this on and
yeah.
If I'm in a room where there's just one computer, you might as well just put a bag over my head. I'm just like, oh, it's so boring. I can't, you know, I'm and then I don't feel like the song and production are born together.
Okay, that's fascinating. To be surrounded by instruments, so you're very visual, tactile. Like you need to touch it and go like, okay,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. And you're writing for yourself versus for other people. Do you find it easier writing for other people?
You know what? I have not really written for other people. Every time we try, we're like, oh, let's keep it. And
you're like, this is too good.
And we even did it with Kylie. We were like, let's not give it to her, you know, at one point. And then we were like, no, come on, because we were writing a folk record. How were we going to squeeze suddenly slow into the folk record?
Yeah, if you listen to it, it's like, it doesn't really. I mean, you could try.
But she was just so perfect for it. Yeah. But after that, I mean, I wrote another song on there for her. But after that, I didn't really think a lot about it. You know, we kind of ended up always using our songs, and it's kind of the only artist really that I wrote for. Being just the kind of hermit in the studio. I don't really think outside of that world a lot. Yeah.
Does it feel more natural for you now to write songs for yourself now that you know your voice very well?
No. It's still a process, but I'm enjoying it much, much, much more now. I'm more free in it. I think when maybe I was younger, I was very cruel to myself.
Self-criticism and
and very so I sometimes just forgot to enjoy the process. But we found when I met Dan Carey, we were like kindred spirits. So we would work in the day, and then we would just do techno and dance music in the night.
Okay.
And so loads of fun. And we had loads of fun, but internally I was anxious, and I don't have that anymore. I don't feel like I have a lot to lose, you know. I just kind of get on with it, and I love it. My writing is definitely my favorite part today.
Nice.
Everything else, I'm just like, I could leave it, you know.
And you talk about this, so your creative process, is it you just get a song that comes to you and you write it down, or do you literally have like a ritual where it's like every day I sit down, I spend a certain amount of time that I allow myself to do this? Like, what does your creative process look like?
It's a complete mess, and it's totally the opposite of everything everyone says. And I think that was really healthy for me, because I thought that I was not one of the chosen ones to write music. I thought you had to be chosen to have like some kind of a holy connection.
Divine intervention comes every time, right? It's like
but it's actually just, you know, expressing yourself. I don't know what it was, but I got there somehow. And I think there's a lot of difference. Some people wake up 9 o'clock every morning and write. That does not suit me at all. I am literally can be quiet for 2 years.
Okay.
Completely. I don't
not thinking about it.
No, there's something.
Okay. It's the background.
It's more like it's the background noise, and I'm filling up like a balloon until and then when I feel like I'm bursting and I'm like frustrated, and then I go in the studio. Sometimes I dream songs, or they come very naturally, very quick. Sometimes within half an hour, you know, and you're like, "Ooh, how did that happen?"
It's just like flowing out of you.
I think it's just it's all there.
Yeah,
it's all there, and sometimes you have to work much harder on a song, and it takes a long time. And But for me, it's always just having everything on. Everything is plugged in and ready to go. And then we improvise.
Okay. I think that's really fascinating to hear that it is, because I normally don't know, like people say that they'll sit down every day and do something, right? And it's not the act of forcing, because maybe for them that feels natural. But for you, the fact that you're just like, I know it could be years, so I don't allow it to dictate my life that I have to do this certain way, otherwise I'll be,
Also, if you're constantly going to do a record, where do you, it took years to do your first one and your second one. If you're not going to live your life at all between, what do you have to say?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I don't know. You have to somehow find the inspiration. It's not fun making records when you're not inspired.
True. Yeah.
At all. And people aren't going to feel it.
I was going to say that authenticity doesn't come across either.
No,
so.
And then you're not talking to anyone. No, how are you going to connect?
Right. Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, for some people it is just, it flows out of them constantly, and then for other people it is in spurts.
Yes,
perhaps.
Definitely for me. I'm just like, I'm like sleuth.
Yeah.
I'm such a slow motion person. Like everything is like, can I have a think about that? Because I have to my processing is just like,
yeah,
But
it gives you more time to make a informed decision, though. In my opinion, if you take it so, that's how I'd like to see it, because sometimes the fast decision, you're paying for the consequences of not thinking it through a little bit.
Yes, and I'm a very impulsive person, so I've had
like
this is something
like,
that I've had to learn.
And I'm impulsive at the same time. It's just a very
always the opposite with me, like always, and I've had some big lessons that I've had to learn.
Fair enough. That is life, right?
Yes.
When it comes to Lord of the Rings. And singing that song, Gollum's song, which is beautiful and haunting, and so many, I'm sure, Lord of the Ring fans would be like, "Oh my God, I mean, that's right." In that movie, Two Towers, what was it like being a part of this iconic film?
I think it was possibly one of the most incredible things that I've gone through. Mainly because in the beginning, it was introduced to me that I was not going to get it.
Oh.
No, they had asked a lot of people.
That's really strange. It's like, don't get your hopes up. It's not a possibility.
Yeah, you're not going to get it.
Wow.
Basically. They wanted somebody famous. They'd spoken to Björk and Jónsi from Sigurhós.
Interesting.
They talked to many other people.
Yeah.
And then somebody gave them my first record. And this is just after my first record, I think. And I'm like, and I met this guy. And he's like, yeah, I heard your voice. I think it's like really, really super nice. We want to try it, but just so you know, you're not going to be used, because we really want somebody.
Why even call me? Right?
Could get an Oscar for it. Has a name. And I'm like, okay. It was the weird.
Right? It's like, way to like really make me enthusiastic about this.
Yeah. So I was like, okay then. And then the why I said yes to it was that they were recording it in Studio One Abbey Road Studio, somewhere that I'm not going to be able to record. And I thought, okay, I want to go there. And then I walked in, and everything is so grand, So there's a man there at the grand piano, and I'm like, hi. And he's like, so you want to do your vocal warm-ups? And I was just like, sure. La 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 la.
Are you improvising?
Never warmed up in my life.
That's amazing.
And I was like, wow, I would love to have that every single time. And then there was the first time where the technology was so that I could be speaking to the people through a screen in the studio.
So you're in a room and they're in a room, and it's
and the directors and everyone is there, and I'm like tiny in this huge room. Yeah. I'm alone, and
that face is your alone face.
Yeah, and then I sang the song, and but I kind of approached it in a different way, because for me I just loved singing.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm not going to get it, so I'm just going to be here and enjoy this moment. And I went and sung the song, and Gollum, I was a massive fan of the books. So when I saw the first movie, I was like, I want to be a part of this. I could just be like a little bump in the grass, so I don't care. Like how
you just want to be in the Shire.
I just want to be in the Shire. And so it was really a huge deal for me to do this. And Gollum, who's my favorite character.
Interesting, okay.
So I got Gollum song, and I was like, oh my God. And what was so fun to sing that song is that to strain it, to make it ugly, not to sing it in a beautiful way, but in a kind of
and yet it has a beauty to it, the way that you did it, because it is so like it sticks with you, right? It's just like, oh God.
So you could bring out the Gollum a little bit in your voice, and they didn't stop me doing that, and I was like, yes. So it's all kind of like every it's sung in a way that your singing teacher goes, not allowed to sing it like that, and so you're like, squeezing it out. So that was really fun. It breaking all the singing rules.
And so when do they go like, oh, we're gonna keep this, we're gonna do this, like when?
Almost instantly.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
They really, and I was just like, what? And I got to go to the premieres in New York and in Paris. Amazing. Stealing like truffles from my dad. It was so fancy. I'd never been anywhere like that. And meeting cast, and it was very beautiful.
That's incredible. There was so I asked my audience over on Instagram to submit questions for you, and one of them from Salome asked, how did that impact your career?
How did it impact my career? I don't really know. I think I have kind of, I've gone through managers like underpants, I just like doing things my way.
Yeah, okay.
And I work very closely with my friends, and we have our ways of doing stuff that really works. And if you don't fit into that, or if you try to dominate it, or if you try to, everyone's like, huh? Because we're all so close. Like, what are you doing?
You can't just come in here
and
break up the crew.
And we're all like baffled by the whole ways. And so I never really had the setup of like, right, here's this, and now we have to put out 3 songs just after this, so that it makes sense.
You capitalize on the
So we were just like, wasn't that nice? Lovely. Right. Now I'm going to go home. So we do a record in 2 years. Oh yeah, let's do that. So I think I'm a pretty bad at all that stuff, but I really enjoyed it.
And yet it's worked for you, right?
It has.
Especially since you are, and I love it when you said when you went in to sing it, the song, Gollum song, that you were just grateful to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of energy also brings energy back to you in amazing ways that you can't imagine. Right? It just kind of like figures it out for you. It's like just being grateful and not having any expectations. Then you get it and you're like, oh, amazing. And then it's like, and then next thing you know, you're at a film premiere stealing truffles for your dad, right? It's like it gets to go in like really cool ways that are just like unthinkable.
I have to say, like there was the cook when I saw the truffles, and he was like, you like truffles? And I was like, I love truffles, my dad loves it. And he was like, put it in a serviette to bring it to your dad. Sweet. So I didn't quite steal that. I was helped. I had a guy on the inside.
I was going to say, if it goes to the cook, it's a gift, right? At that point, like, exactly.
But I think you have a little goodwill and on the way. You meet people that kind of want you to be successful.
And you allow that.
Yeah, and they kind of pull you along. And I had much more of a musical family.
Okay.
Than situations where you're being, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
So you say you have much more of a musical family.
I had a really strong musical family, and I think that was my success.
Yeah. So in what way, like, was your family involved in music?
Not my family, but my music family was like Dan Carey.
Oh, like your chosen. I see.
Okay. I understand. My publisher at the time.
Yes, I get it.
At Warner, it was like everybody had. We all worked together. Where I wasn't kind of the Christmas tree. We just all wanted.
This sort of egalitarian way.
Yeah, it was just a nice kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
Everybody wanted it to succeed in some way.
Yeah,
so
I think staying grounded. It sounds like in a space where it's like safe space to be yourself, and you don't have to feel like you're putting on. It's like, I'm not Emilíana Torrini. I was like, I'm just me. right? And I get to experiment.
And you go through that, you go through all sorts of things, and some things you don't think that you have a choice, and some things you don't, and no one really cares about your well-being throughout. When success hits, no one's thinking about your mental health or your well-being, or it's just about working you,
right?
And keep going, and there's no stoppers, and when you're young, you don't have them either. So I think, definitely learned many lessons through what, made sense for me.
That's more of a theme these days, where it's like people's mental health. Because even just a few years ago, like, a decade ago, it was like, if someone has a mental breakdown, it's like, oh, well, they're not built for this.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe people aren't supposed to be followed around by paparazzi all the time and having massive...
No, now we have our own paparazzi.
Yeah.
We are our own paparazzi.
Yes, that's true.
And, you know it. You do content. What are you going to do if you get sick?
Lose
you
money.
Don't.
Basically, right?
You cannot stop. And you have no time. And I think that is going to be a massive issue one day. Yeah. I think because it's dangerous to be like that.
The creator economy, it's true. It's set up that it's marketed as you get to be your own boss and whatever else, but it's like, not to say that working for another company is for everybody, but there's a security in, like, there's sick days, right? Like, there's this aspect of...
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Your mom can get sick.
Right.
And there's no mercy.
Right.
Because your algorithm isn't going to think about your welfare.
And also the algorithm is already changing, regardless of something negative is happening to you or not, right? You can be having the best time, getting incredible views, and then the algorithm goes, actually, we're just shifting today, and you're not part of it. Right? It's just like, oh, well, thanks. I guess I'll just try and have a nervous breakdown and figure it out later. But it is true. Yeah. It's true. It's
hard to be a step ahead of algorithm.
Yeah, especially when the algorithm now is so much more AI based, and so it's not even people. But whatever, that's a whole nother thing. It's a lot.
I find that very interesting.
Yeah, and I think for artists too, that is fascinating, because again, it's like, for me, content is so much fun. I love doing it, but it's not like I'm personally hurt necessarily if someone doesn't like it. I've gotten thicker skin, to be fair, over the years. But with an artist, it's like, maybe this song meant so much to you, right? And you wrote it after, like, this impactful event, and it's crickets, right? It's just like, oh my god,
really don't like that song, on your page, you're like,
or troll has something to say, and it's just like, or says something negative for no reason. And it's just like the wear and tear on your self-worth.
Trolls are so easy to spot, though. You just hit the negative comment, you see their page, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. And at the same time, where our brains are sometimes wired to pay attention to that one negative comment out of the, like, 1,000 beautiful comments, you're like, and that one person said to me, but it's like, why are you focusing on that? Because we just can't help it, right? It's just like, it's a practice of going.
It is the total practice. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, it's amazing.
And I have no interest in getting in some kind of conversation online about anything, because it's like an echo room, it's just like blah, blah, blah. And everybody is putting themselves on a high horse with their opinions. And I'm just like, it's not the place for your opinions. No. It just isn't. And I teach my kids never to comment on anything, ever, no matter what it is. And because it is a waste of space.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind encouraging comments, obviously, or even like ones that are trying to be constructive in some way. That can happen.
Yeah, of course. I'm not talking about those spots, but if you're going to have like fights or or like, don't ever say a negative comment when you don't know even when you know them. Just don't say anything. Yeah, if you've got nothing good to say, leave.
Exactly. That's my thing. Is I don't like it, I don't watch it. Right. I just, okay, that wasn't for me, clearly, it's so true. In fact, Hugleikur Dagsson, he's one of the people that we talked to, and his cartoons attract those. He's like, I don't go through the comments because I'm not going to it's true, because it can really hit a sore spot, especially when you're doing something that might be religious based or whatever else, Yes.
But comedy is so brilliant.
It is. I agree.
Because, you can make fun of everything and anyone, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I think mostly the comments that I love is when I see something very funny. And that makes me laugh. And then I love going to the comments, because that's where the true comedians are often. They are so funny.
Yeah.
And they just lift the joke.
Yes, agreed.
I love that. But that's all kind of positive, and it's about poking the finger, and it's not mean.
Yes, I agree.
No interest in the kind of that other stuff.
Yeah, same. Is there an album of yours that feels the most personal?
Fisherman's Woman.
Fisherman's Woman. Okay.
Yeah.
And why is that?
I was 22 at the time, and I had fallen in love, and I lost my boyfriend.
Lost him?
Yes, he died.
Oh no.
Yeah, we were moving to New York, and there was a big story. I mean, there was a shooting there, and he got caught up.
No.
And
so this innocent bystanders, like.
Yeah. So
yikes.
It was a massive thing, and it kind of just made me completely paralyzed for years in doing music and life or whatever. And I was just kind of in a very, very bad mental place. and then my publisher, David Donald, he's like, come on, just try and meet. I've got this guy, and I think you would be really great together. Yeah. And I was like, fine, because he's always right.
Yeah.
And then I met Dan, and I remember I just had my arms crossed, like, and he's like, on the drum machine. And I was like, no, I don't want it. Do you play guitar? Like, trying to make sure and he's like, yeah. And then he started to play the guitar day and night to practice again. And then we became absolute best friends and family. And then it wasn't until like we did nothing in the day except eat and talk and be like, blah, blah, blah. And then wrote this this record.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that there was a community that surrounded you to help you lift out of this mental state, because that's really hard.
I wasn't lifted out of it. It took years and a lot. It was so violent and so crazy, and I think it was also like when we were together for 7 months and no one had witnessed it. Oh. So it was very difficult. Yeah. It was like it never happened. Yeah. And
meaning the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was just the two of you who had just had this like intimate time, and then all of a sudden this person's gone.
Yeah, and I meet people and they didn't really get to know me, and it was it was just, I can't really explain it. It was just a very, very tough. Yeah. Tough.
Especially when it's so fresh. 7 months. It's just like that's the honeymoon stage. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that record is all kind of about that loss, and but there's a light through it, and
it's beautiful. Kind of. Okay. Yeah, an expression of how you can deal with coping in situations like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of a fascinating album, Miss Flower, right? The backstory behind that, when I was reading about that, I was like, okay, interesting. So could you explain for people who are not familiar about this fascinating lady, and how you went from learning about Miss Flower to deciding to make a whole album based off of, parts of her life that had to deal with love and maybe not going through with so many of the things that she was proposed to?
I think she was an incredibly strong modern woman. She just did what she wanted to do, and when she got ideas, she performed them. She was extremely independent woman. Her name is Geraldine Flower, and I'm working with a guy called Simon Burt, and his wife is Zoe Flower. And when I was touring, I used to have this rule where the people that I work with, my band, would have to invite their partners.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because often they see something in their heads that's just not what it is. And so it just made things easier.
Okay.
If they came along for a week and, were on the tour for a bit. And
meaning the partners see something in their head that isn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're away. Yeah. They think we're on this tour and there's a lot of people always around.
And roadies.
Yeah. They're missing out, or it's just like what when you can't see things, you can create stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was the rule, and so we came on tour for a week, and we just became close instantly. So he has a studio in the garden they lived downstairs, and Geraldine Flower, her mom, lived upstairs. And sometimes I stayed on the sofa when we were working together, and sometimes they would just get tired of having somebody around all the time, so they would send me upstairs to her mom to drink a cocktail or two.
Okay.
And then I would just be in, had a little moments with her. Mm-hmm. And she was just unbelievable, really tall, very kind of elegant, very naughty and witty and intelligent.
Very naughty, I like that.
Yeah, just like, and when she passed away, I flew to England to help Zoe out with the memorial, and all her friends like to sing songs and just help her out in general. And it was really, really sad. And she was really popular within all her friends and stuff like that. So I was helping her with a flat. And she one day brings a box down. She's like, hey, I found this. It was a leather case. I found this box, and it's full of letters. And we sit on the floor. Excuse me, I've got a bubble.
Okay, no.
Here.
Okay.
And it's just full of hundreds and hundreds of letters. And most of them are from men who are completely obsessed with her. And just funny, witty letters. And the first one that I saw was this guy who's writing that he's mowing the lawn and thinking of her, and and then he thinks of her as a wine and what she would be like if she was a wine. And it was just
very
so
poetic.
60s, so 60s sexy, and it was a bit sexy, but not too much. And I thought, oh, and then we're sitting there, and you want to make your friend kind of not be sad, and I said to her, like, should me and Simon go in the studio and make a song from this? And she was like, yeah, that would be nice. And we did, and it was so fast how we wrote that song. And obviously I was pushing the sexiness, and I was writing, because it's becomes like a collaboration.
Yeah.
And she let me do that. And then I was like, this is really inappropriate. Should I be pushing it like this? And he's like, Simon's like, every time coughing in the studio. And then I'm like, I'm so sorry. Is it really inappropriate right now to be pushing this song like that? And she's like, my mom would have loved it. Because that's the way she was. And then we just didn't think about it. Yeah. And I go to Iceland, and I'm still reeling from this, like, wow. Because we found she had 9 proposals, never married.
Wow.
She had the longest lover in her life, and this on and off and kind of soulful relationship. Until they both died. Was Reggie, and he was a spy.
Oh.
And so it was like, she's like perfect candidate for that. Yeah. And so we start finding, every time I come to England, we're going to be writing a record, but then it's like, let's go in the box again. And then we find some spooky letters, and one of them was, we realized there were a lot of coded letters.
Maybe she was a spy.
Yeah, exactly. And then one of them was very strange, and that's now was inspired by a song called Black Water. And I'm like, I'm going to Google the guy, and we realized he's in the top right-hand side of CIA in the Reagan administration.
Wow.
And it's like, why is she meeting him? And at the time, fires were being put out in South America with communism, and all sorts of stuff was happening. It's like the aftermath of the Cold War, and like that stuff. So it became sort of, in my mind, very apparent that she was involved somehow. So the record started to develop more and more and more.
That's cool. I love this mysteriousness behind her, like having this personality where she's kind of like seductive and fun. All these guys are falling in love with her, and she's probably like getting secrets from them or something.
Yeah, like, maybe.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. That must have been a lot of fun. Like,
it was incredible. Yeah. But also something happened while we were doing it. There was a current pulling us along, and there was some spooky stuff happening, and it was beautiful, like really. But after the first song, I come to Iceland, and Anna Hildebrands, who's a friend of mine, was thinking about a documentary, and she introduces me to the directors Ian Forsyth and Jane Pollard, who did 20,000 Years on Earth with Nick Cave. And we're just eating, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing now?" And I'm like, "Something really strange happened. We were and found these letters, and she might have been a spy, and there's this thing." And they were like, "Oh, well, let us follow. What are you going to do a record?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know, you know." So from day one, they were kind of in there, and now there's a movie.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah. So it's all been quite a ride.
Yeah, and I have a link to all of these things, by the way, for people who are interested in checking it out.
Yeah,
because I love this story. It's just like, it's so layered, and it's not complete per se, right? You only have bits and pieces of her life and just having known her. And
it became so big. I mean, it became also about, we were all losing parents at the time. So it became also an ode to that. And what do we know about our parents? Did we ask them enough? Were we interested enough? Also because we just think that they're kind of frozen. And then you're like, "Hi," coming from school, and they're like, "Hi."
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And personally, as an adult, like, I've asked my grandmother's 95.
Yeah.
And so my mom and I, thankfully, we're very close. I'm very close to my grandmother too. And sometimes asking her questions, I can tell that she gets into grandma mode. Yeah. Right? So she doesn't want to say certain things.
Yeah.
But then if you're with her long enough, she'll say something and you're like, "What? What was that between you and granddad?"
Yeah, do I want to know?
Yeah. And then like a part of me does, but then it's like, do you want to shatter this idea of like they're a human and not this like being who knows everything?
Also when you're a mom, you realize that, you know, it's like movies. You know, you're like, hey, you can't be 14 watching a 16-year-old movie. There's no way. Yeah. And it's the same thing with you and your life. You have to constant self-edit.
Yes.
Because you have to. It has to be age approved.
Right. It's not right for me to be telling my 4-year-old all of my problems, right? It's just like, that's not their thing.
Yeah. And also like some things, even though it's like innocent and all that, they're just not there to understand it.
Right. Yeah, and it's also not for them to take on.
No, exactly. Yeah, and you know, so you're always like thinking, now my son is 15 and asks a question, and I go, is that something that I can answer right now, like about myself, or do I have to edit it? I don't know, you know.
It's an interesting age as well. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure you're navigating through it just fine. It's just,
maybe.
Yeah. At some point, it's like, well, that is parenthood. And that's what I've had to accept. In fact, I think that is life in general. Like, most people look like they have it all together all the time.
And so annoying.
It is, but they're also faking it, right? Like, because there's no way, because you can't tell the future. My not favorite thing, but like most interesting thing is watching people who do talk about their lives, and it takes this twist, and they had never expected it because they had it all mapped out. And it's like, I'm not saying don't have a plan, but not be so strict with your plan that the possibility of change isn't within there. There's no flexibility for it, because that's when you break, right? It's like you have to be a little bit flexible, and sometimes a lot flexible, in order for life to really like come to you and you get the lessons or the joy or whatever, right? But like the worst / best train wrecks are the people who were like, nope, never gonna do it. And it's like, now they're hardcore that because they just never expected that their life would take them that way. Yeah.
I agree. It's always like, I am never gonna be this kind of parent that shouts at my children and I'm angry, because I have seen all the Instagram posts of how not to do that.
I have them all saved.
And then it's like, what? And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then you're like, just do as I say. Totally losing it.
The 30th time. Like, it's like, now I've had it up to here.
And now I'm just like, you know what? I just have to, whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm the boss. You're not the boss. I'm the boss. Maybe not quite like that.
Yeah, but I understand. Like, and you also understand your parents at some point too, being like,
oh my God, yes.
That's why they were annoyed. Yeah. Okay, it's because I deliberately just kept pushing this boundary.
Yes.
So yeah, fair enough.
And that's what's healthy when they do that. So.
Yeah. I think kids growing up in Iceland is so different too, like in many other places. And so like that freedom to have more autonomy, like even as a 15-year-old, right? Like, or even younger than that, being out late at night because like the summers are, you know, bright and stuff like that. Like when I was a kid, there's no way I was going past like 9 o'clock. But here it's like, oh, okay, 10 o'clock, whatever. It's like, it's
in
not,
the neighborhood, they're playing, and you know, it's just like, wow, they're having a great time.
Yeah.
that was a big thing for me to move from England, where your kid is glued to your hip.
For safety. Yeah.
Just for safety, you know. Or that, you know, that thing that's created, you know, England is much more thriving on this kind of fear and, you know. And
I'm from the US, so I
yeah,
I understand.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah,
it's
exhausting.
It like is. Seeing these awful people around every corner and that maybe, I mean, they exist, but wow, come on.
Yeah. It's always an impending fear. Like
they exist here.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to say, it's not like Iceland is exempt from predators
not
or
like
anything.
Angelic people only walking around this earth. There
Thank
are
goodness.
awful things that happen
right,
here.
Yeah.
But it's luckily not in our media yet. This kind of fear mongering of like having your, you know, kid to go 10 meters away from you, like, you know, freaking
helicopter
out.
parenting. I hope that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, there are, you know, events that like
make it happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we'll see. When it comes to your music, though, we've already talked about the different genres that you've been, folk, pop, orchestral, like all these things. What inspires you to go like, I want to just pop into this, or I want to like try this? Is there something specific that you're
No, it's never like that. It just happens. You know, it's never decided. It's something that happens in the studio, and then we do what suits the song best. Like because everything is happening at the same time. I was laughing with my friend because I'm always in a studio that's in a backyard or in somebody's house. Okay. And I've never been in a fancy studio working, because it just doesn't suit the way we work, because we're always doing one thing at the same time. Okay. And so when we're doing the demos, we are actually working the finished, almost finished versions anyway. So it's very much about just going in a flow, and whatever wants to come happens. And it's about not stopping it. It's letting it develop and letting it spin many circles and do whatever it wants to do, and then it's like boom, there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Living abroad, you mentioned living in England and then coming back to Iceland. Do you feel like being here makes a difference in your music as opposed to being abroad when you're working on music?
Well, because I work so much abroad, I find it more difficult to be here, because the people I work with, and they are abroad.
Yeah, okay.
So it's quite sort of detaching for me to be here. I tend to sort of compartmentalize.
Okay.
So here I'm like, la la la, and they're like, we're really trying to reach you. And I'm like, well, let's just talk about it when I get there. You know, it's almost like I can't join those two worlds. It's very funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, and so there's plus and minuses, definitely with the work.
Right. Okay.
But the best thing in the world when you are single mom in Iceland.
And you also get to
good.
It's almost like you're turning off that part of your brain to focus on your kids too, right?
Yes.
So you don't have this like, I have to be doing this thing and getting back to everybody. It's like, no, this week I'm not available.
Yeah.
My brain's not even allowing it because I'm in Iceland, and in Iceland it's family time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I also have, because I have my kids 50-50 and nothing can touch that time when they are with me.
That's beautiful.
So I'm very, very, trying to find ways where I only work on the weeks that I don't have them, and then I'm a home mom on the times where I do have them. Otherwise, there's too much time lost.
Yeah, that's great though that you have that flexibility to do that.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm definitely trying it.
I say that as long as it's been working for you, right? I mean, obviously things can change, the flexibility part that we talked about. Yeah. But I'm sure that, your kids, because this is like with my mom. She, at some point, her and my dad had decided that she was going to stay at home, even though she never really stayed at home. She ended up coming up with like an after school program and a summer camp and all these things. But still, there was these memories that I have, right? Of having access to my mom in this way or my parents in this way. That was really impactful for my time as a kid, how I remember being a kid and how I enjoyed it, right? So I think, at the short term, it feels like, okay, this is like quite the juggle.
Yes.
But I think, just from personal experience of having a mom at home, that was accessible to me. It meant a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so you have Miss Flower. Like, what else is happening for you right now that you're excited about?
Well, I'm just following the movie mostly and there will be a premiere here in Iceland, I think in November. And I'm excited about that. And then it's kind of closing that chapter, and the movie will just be shown, and then that chapter is closed. And then there's this acoustic LP coming out sometime. I'm so good at advertising. I never know anything. Like sometime soon. And I've started my new record.
Nice. Okay, well, where is best for people to keep up with you when your things are coming out?
I think it's Instagram or my website.
Okay, I'll have both of those linked.
I am really not good at being on there.
Okay.
But you have to, if you want to check what's going on, then it's...
Okay, great.
I'm a terrible Instagrammer.
It is one of those things, if you don't focus on it, it's easy to be terrible at it because it can be overwhelming, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, and having been in the music industry for all these decades, what advice would you give to your younger self starting out?
Wow. I guess it's just enjoy it and don't sign because you think it's the right thing to do. Check the small letterings and know what they mean, and make sure you have people that know what they're doing around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when people say this is standard, don't.
You're like, that's the worst.
That's going to be the...
That's where you know that you're jumping off the cliff.
Yes.
And there's no parachute. Right? So
exactly.
it's just like, okay.
You know,
yeah.
And just know you're walking into an industry that behaves criminally. For artists. Know that if you want to be in it.
I think this is also similar for how the creator economy is developing too, because you get contracts with like agencies, whatever, and same thing. They'll be like, oh, we do this for everybody. And it's like, that doesn't make it right. And it doesn't feel good, right? It's just like, there are.
But there's always a next person to step in. And I think the best thing is when, the more people do it, then it will stop.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to be, it's complicated. It's really complicated, and it's difficult to do when you're young. Yeah. When you're excited, but that's also the best time.
Definitely. All right, I have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
One is from the audience, from Halle, and a fellow Icelander, who wants to know your record or like the band Spoon. Have you ever wanted to or planned to do songs from Spoon in your career concerts, like just when you're performing some of those songs from back then?
I mean, I might do one day if I am doing something here in Iceland and I'm going through a lot of the music. Maybe I will. There has been, because there's a lot of thought about what the music means to me now that I did so long time ago, and do the songs have any meaning to me now, or can they morph? A lot of the songs morph into meaning that fits my life today, and some songs are almost embarrassing to sing. Today is like I'm almost 50 and I'm singing like unemployed in summertime. You just turned 21. It's a bit weird. Or like Heartstopper, like I'm hanging outside your door, like this kind of stalkery vibes in love. And it's like, that would sound really wrong doing that now.
You're like, I'm past
when you're 20, you can get away with it.
Right. Fair enough. Okay, so maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly.
No promises.
No, or like if I'm going to be like, doing like, I'll just do all the songs, just shout it out, I'll sing it, then maybe
for nostalgia's sake, perhaps. Okay, my last question is the one I ask all of my guests, which is, what is your favorite Icelandic word or phrase?
Dalaleiða.
Dalaleiða. Okay, and explain what that means.
It's a dale mist.
Okay. It sounds really beautiful though. Dalaleiða.
Yes, Dalaleiða. It's like a fog. It happens often in like when you see in the summer, because it's like 24 hours light. And when the horses are sleeping and you see this fog, and it's so ghostly because you can't hear the birds because everything is quiet, and it's almost like Armageddon. It's a very deafening silence.
Wow.
And when Dalalaiða is there, it's like, oh, it's almost gives you the shivers. It's so spooky.
Wow.
I love it.
I love how you have this on the tip of your tongue. You're like, that's that is my word.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I also have an English word, which is petrichor.
Petrichor?
Petrichor.
Okay,
it's the smell. It's also one of my favorite smells. It's the smell of earth after rain.
Ooh, yes. Okay. I didn't know that's what it was called in English.
Yeah,
but
it has
yes.
a word, and I love that it has a word. It's,
cool.
It's a perfume. Like.
Yes, yes. And it's so distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this has been lovely.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And
motor mouthing.
Oh, that's the best, you know? And I feel like you're also just giving a lot of insight into your background, what you have going on now, and just the idea of like, it's so easy when you see a person and you're like, oh, I've had this like mega success and everything. And it's like, you're amazing. First of all, you have great aura. You have great energy.
Oh, thank you.
And you've made it so much more fun to just like dive in and chat about like life in essence. So I appreciate you doing that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thanks everybody for watching. Bye.
Bye.